Hi guys, welcome back. Today I will be showing you how to make cakesicles. So here I'm using a cake and crumbling it, and you can also use the mixer instead. And so this cake was a couple days old and a little overcooked, but I figured I could use it to practice making cakesicles. Once you've crumbled your cake, you want to add some frosting, and I'm just using whatever I had left over and mixing it together. So once it's all mixed, it will look like Play-Doh, and that means it's ready. Next, you want to melt your chocolate and pour some on your cakesicle mold. And I just cut my cakesicle molds to make it easier to work with. And I'm using candy melts that I microwaved starting at 30 seconds and lower amounts after that until the chocolate was mostly melted, stirring each time. So for this method, you just want to spread the chocolate all over your mold except the very bottom to avoid cracking from happening there. After you've covered the mold with chocolate, you want to shake off the excess chocolate, and you can use a spoon or spatula to clean your mold. And this is what it should look like. So unfortunately, that one ended up cracking from the side, so I was not able to use it. So I'm just repeating the steps with this one too. And even though one of them cracked, this method is the one that works for me best, because before trying it out, all my cakesicles would crack from the bottom. So I do recommend this method for those of you who have any issues with the bottom cracking or the popsicle stick falling off. Once you're done, you can pop the mold in the refrigerator or freezer for 3 to 5 minutes or until the chocolate has hardened. And once you take it out of the fridge, let it sit at room temperature for about 10 minutes, and then you'll want to paint a second layer of chocolate to your mold. You want to make sure you cover the edges with chocolate well. And here I'm using a Wilton cake decorating brush. I do have to apologize for my angles not being the best. Sometimes it's hard to see if I'm showing everything on camera, so I am sorry about that. Once you're done, you can pop it in the fridge again or let it dry at room temperature. Then you can start filling it with your cake filling, and you want to make sure to do it gently to avoid any cracks. So with this technique, you also want to make sure you leave the bottom empty, because that's where you will be adding the chocolate, so that the popsicle stick does not fall off, and also so that you won't have problems with the bottom part cracking. So when you're done, you can insert the popsicle stick into the mold gently. And this is what it should look like. You also want to make sure you don't overfill the mold with filling, so that there's a little bit of room for the chocolate and it doesn't overflow. So now you want to start pouring the chocolate onto your mold, and you want to fill in that bottom gap and spread the rest with a spoon. So once you're done, you want to give it a little tap and pop it in the fridge until it hardens, or in the freezer for about 5 minutes. So here it is after I took it out of the fridge, and I'm about to remove it from the mold. And here I'm just scraping any excess chocolate that's around the edges, and you can use a spatula or a bench scraper. So to remove the cakesicle from the mold, you want to pull around the mold like so, and start pulling the mold from the top. And then you'll want to push the popsicle stick upwards to remove the cakesicle off the mold. And now you can decorate your cakesicle. So here I have a leaf mold, and I'm using a piping bag to make some leaves with the same chocolate. And I already had some roses done that I decided to use for my cakesicle too. So I'm just giving the mold a little tap, and then I'm using a bench scraper to remove the excess chocolate before I pop it in the fridge for 3 to 5 minutes. So I used luster dust and super gold to paint the roses and leaves. And normally I would use a bit of lemon extract, but since my roses already had luster dust, I decided to just leave the lemon extract out and brush some luster dust into my roses to the areas that needed some dust. And I'm just using another of my Wilton brushes to brush the dust onto them. So after taking the leaf mold out of the fridge, you want to carefully remove the chocolate leaves, and I will also be brushing some luster dust onto them. After you decide where you want your decorations, you'll want to grab your piping bag and add a little chocolate on the back of the figures or onto the cakesicle where you want your figures to be on. So of course I dropped a leaf onto my cakesicle and it left a drop of chocolate, which I tried to remove and just left a smudge instead. So to fix it, I decided to brush some luster dust onto the whole cakesicle. So here's the finished look. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos.